engineers have reportedly discovered hidden kill switches in Chinese-manufactured parts being used in American solar farms.
Because Huawei is the group behind all of this spyware stuff. So
across America's rooftops, a quiet revolution glistens in the sun. Solar panels shimmer, promising freedom, clean energy, and lower bills. But beneath the promise lies a hidden danger. In 2023, Chinese companies controlled over 50% of the global solar inverter market. Huawei alone held 29%. Recent investigations uncovered secret modules inside Chinese-made inverters, capable of bypassing security and receiving remote commands. Panels shine in plain sight, but it's the hidden circuits that could bring everything down. It began without warning. In late April, Spain and Portugal plunged into darkness. Over 50 million people lost power in seconds. Hospitals went silent, airports shut down, communications collapsed. No storms, no natural disaster, just a sudden, unexplained blackout across an entire region. Authorities scrambled for answers. The early findings were disturbing. Spain's grid depends heavily on solar energy. Over 53% of its electricity comes from renewables. And a majority of its solar infrastructure, especially inverters, was sourced from Chinese manufacturers. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, U.S. investigators were conducting their own inspections. What they found shook national security circles. Hidden communication modules, invisible to the eye, undocumented in manuals, were discovered inside Chinese-made inverters installed across American homes and businesses. Experts warn that manipulating just 3 to 4 gigawatts of solar capacity remotely could trigger cascading blackouts across American states. Spain may have been a test run. America could be next. And this time, the blackout might not end in hours. It might last days, or worse. In the days that followed the Iberian blackout, alarms went off across Washington. The Department of Energy launched emergency reviews. Grid operators raced to assess vulnerabilities. Intelligence agencies combed through import records. The findings were chilling. Chinese manufacturers supply more than half of the world's solar inverters. Huawei alone commands 29% of global market share. Billions of dollars worth of this equipment installed on American soil with little oversight, little scrutiny. But it wasn't just about market dominance. It was about what was hiding inside. Investigators discovered that Chinese inverters contained undocumented cellular modules capable of bypassing grid security and communicating directly with remote servers. These modules could receive kill switch commands, not in theory, in practice. Energy security experts warned that taking control of just 3 to 4 gigawatts of solar capacity could cause cascading blackouts, crippling cities, disabling infrastructure, paralyzing military operations. Meanwhile, Wall Street took notice. Shares of American energy companies tumbled. State governors demanded immediate inspections. Panic rippled through the utility sector. It was clear now, the threat wasn't from the outside. It was already embedded inside the grid. And no one knew how many Trojan horses had already been installed. Across America, the news spread, slowly at first, then with a wave of panic. Homeowners who once proudly showcased their solar panels now looked at their rooftops with suspicion. Families who thought they were investing in the future questioned whether they had unknowingly brought a Trojan horse into their homes. In Australia, over 90% of rooftop solar systems rely on Chinese-manufactured inverters. Security agencies there have labeled it a national vulnerability. America's numbers are catching up fast. Public forums flooded with questions. Is my home safe? Can my electricity be shut off remotely? What happens in a blackout? Talk radio buzzed with anger. Cable news screamed warnings. State officials demanded federal action. For the first time, the threat felt personal. It wasn't an abstract cyber war fought in distant server rooms. It was in kitchens, schools, and hospitals. Experts warned that embedded vulnerabilities could be activated remotely, disrupting not just homes, but entire communities. Imagine an ordinary American town. A school loses power mid-class. A hospital's operating room goes dark mid-surgery. A traffic grid locks up in seconds. And all of it triggered without a single soldier setting foot on U.S. soil. Trust in green energy turned brittle. The question wasn't about climate anymore. It was about survival. The truth was darker than anyone had feared. This wasn't a glitch. It wasn't an engineering oversight. It was a strategy, deliberate, methodical, and years in the making. Huawei, blacklisted by U.S. authorities for its ties to the Chinese government, was found to be operating 11 undisclosed semiconductor foundries and 10 hidden research centers under shell companies. These facilities didn't just produce consumer gadgets, they churned out the components embedded deep inside critical infrastructure: solar inverters, smart grids, AI servers. Every piece connected. Every vulnerability designed not for failure, but for control. Security analysts concluded that Chinese-made inverters pose a Tier 1 cyber risk to national energy grids, one of the highest vulnerabilities in the modern era. The plan wasn't to launch missiles. It wasn't to storm borders. It was to infiltrate the very arteries of modern civilization, to make the shutdown of entire cities, hospitals, airports, defense systems possible with a single remote command. And most chilling of all, it was already done. Millions of devices installed legally, quietly across homes and industries. The invasion wasn't coming. It was already here. The deeper investigators dug, the clearer the pattern became. This wasn't isolated to solar inverters. It extended into 5G infrastructure, AI cloud servers, and smart appliances, the essential systems that power daily American life. Huawei's undisclosed foundries were quietly supplying chips for devices far beyond energy. Chips designed not just for performance, but for remote access and silent control. Smart grids powered by Chinese hardware. Data centers using Chinese AI processors. Military bases unknowingly connected to Chinese-made communication nodes. Each layer invisible, each layer vulnerable. It was a strategy decades in the making, a blueprint for dominance without confrontation. Cybersecurity experts now call this silent siege warfare, embedding kill switch capabilities into critical infrastructure, waiting for the perfect moment. And America's green energy push? It had unwittingly accelerated the plan. In the rush for renewable energy, regulations were relaxed. In the race for lower costs, oversight was abandoned. In the chase for climate goals, security was compromised. The Trojan horse wasn't at the gates. It was inside the city. A quiet, patient army, not of soldiers, but of circuits. Not aiming to destroy infrastructure, aiming to control it. We thought we were building a cleaner future. We thought we were investing in security, sustainability, freedom. But what if freedom can be hijacked? What if control isn't taken, but given away piece by piece? If the lifeblood of modern life, energy, data, communication, can be switched off remotely, what remains sovereign? What remains American? The solar panels on our rooftops, the inverters humming unseen in our basements, the servers processing our lives in real time, all vulnerable, all compromised. The next war may not come with explosions. It may come with a silent command and a nation left in the dark. The lights may go out, but the truth will remain.